What's up, everybody? I'm Sega Lord X, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about the At Games Sega Genesis Flashback HD. Now, as you guys know, there have been a number of these devices released over the years, and they haven't always been the best. As a matter of fact, this unit here was supposed to be the reckoning. This was supposed to be, they finally got it right. HDMI, non-infrared wireless controllers, HD graphics, everything was supposed to come together here. And did it? I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the box to this thing. As you can see, it has a very nice 1990s Sega aesthetic to it. A very nice foil lettering around the Genesis logo. It has some of the specs on the front, the wireless controllers, the 720p HDMI connection. It has also a rewind and save feature built into the system. If we go ahead and turn the box over here, you can see it has a number of the Genesis titles displayed on the back. Also, if you look inside the box, you are going to see the system itself. Now, as you can see, the system has a very cheap, plasticky look to it, and it's very hollow feeling, very cheap feeling. I'm not a fan of the way that it feels, and I'm definitely not a fan of the fact that At Games stuck their logo across it. They should have put that on the bottom, in my opinion. That really mars the original look to the system. I really wish they hadn't have done that. And here is the cartridge slot located in the same area as on the original Genesis. If you look at the back there, you can see the power and HDMI connections. Taking a look at the controller here, you can see the controller has very much like the system, that cheap plasticky look to it. And I'm not a fan of these controllers. I've never been a fan of the At Games controllers. I'm not really sure why they designed them this way, but if you look at them here, they have a very thick feel to them. I mean, they just don't feel comfortable in your hands. The D-pad is like it's on this really raised up rocker. It's really high up, and the buttons have the same problem too. They're just so deep. They just do not feel good. They feel like they're protruding from the controller, and they really do lack that nice, feel of the original 6-button controllers. So now that we've taken a look at this, let's go ahead and take a look at the front end. The first thing you'll notice when powering on the At Games Sega Genesis Flashback HD is the front end itself looks great in 720p. Box art is well detailed, and the variety of games consists of popular staples from the Master System, Game Gear, and Genesis. Exploring the front end is a pain, however, as you must use the B and C buttons to switch between the different directories. There does exist a modification for this device to add more games. It is not nearly as easy to do as the NES and SNES classic machines, and will likely not be something the average Joe will be excited to try. There are also some glaring omissions in this release that I'd like to point out. The Streets of Rage series is entirely absent, as is Revenge of Shinobi. Fortunately, Shinobi 3 is here, so let's look at the emulation quality of that one. Emulation quality is firmly set in the middle of the pack for these types of devices. While nothing is outright broken or unplayable, there are some very prominent issues that Sega veterans will pick up on. Scrolling tends to be choppy in some games, and sound effects are off in many others. Cartridge-based games suffer the worst of these shortcomings. In Sunsoft's Batman for the Sega Genesis, I noticed multiple graphic and sound issues across the entire experience. Master System and Game Gear emulation are less affected, with most of the games I tried being accurate representations of the originals. Game Gear games even feature a nice bezel around the screen, mimicking the handheld itself. Let's take a look at a few of those. Included in this set are the original 3 Mortal Kombat games. While nothing extravagant in this day and age in terms of sound and graphics, the Genesis versions were decent playing replicas of the vastly superior arcade games. Scorpion's one-button charge fatality remains intact 20 plus years later. Using the cartridge slot of the system, the game ROM is downloaded and ready to play. I tried both Virtua Racing and the EverDrive in the cart slot, neither one working for me. Let's look at some of the games that did work. I just wanted to butt in here and ask, who the hell said the Genesis couldn't do great music? As with other at-Games devices, you get a barrage of unbelievable bonus games with the Sega Genesis Flashback HD. Incredible experiences like Bomber, which doesn't rip off any other games at all. The sheer intensity of trying to bomb your foes to pieces is nearly worth the price of the machine alone. And let's not look past Bubbles Master. This ultra-fast puzzle masterpiece will keep you on the edge of your seat for hours. You'll be hard-pressed to find a better game for any other system. Cross the Road fills the action void with an adventure unlike any other. You and your doggy pals must cross a treacherous road of doom to get home. Just when you think it's over, the road of doom returns with vengeance. Then there's Jack's P. In this harrowing horror tale, you control Jack trying his damnedest to get from one platform to the next. The scrolling here is almost three-dimensional. And just when you thought the goodness was done, we get Mr. Balls. Just try and make this bastard go away. It's impossible. First there was Virtua Cop and House of the Dead, but they have nothing on Spider, the spectacular shooting action game. Keep those damn spiders off your birthday cake to win the day. And finally, what true gamer can be without Snake, the classic unlike any other? Guide your Snake through countless levels of fun. You simply can't find 16-bit graphics and sound better than this anyplace else. Alright guys, there is the at-Games Sega Genesis Flashback HD. Now this is the most recent unit that I could find to buy. So everyone has mentioned that the earlier units had particular problems with the firmware or something, and that these problems have been remedied. I'm not exactly sure that that's true, because this particular unit that I have here definitely still has some choppiness to some of the games, especially some of the faster moving games like Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, the sound effects themselves are not particularly bad, the music is a bit better, but overall the emulation is still not solid. A good PC emulator still just blows it out the water. I mean, heck, I have a Raspberry Pi inside one of those little USB Genesis shells, and even that emulation blows this away. So this definitely has problems. It's not 100%. It's not quite as bad as some people make it out to be, but it's still not great, and there are still definitely better options out there for the price that you're going to pay for this thing. Now, the only positive that I can generate with any kind of passion is the money goes back to Sega, or at least some of it does. They had to license these games, and no doubt every unit that they sell, Sega sees a little bit of money. So there is a positive to that if you just want to support the original IP holder of these particular games. But when it comes to quality and emulation, there are still much better options out there than this particular product. I'm Sega Lord X. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you next time.